All right, so today we're going to be doing solving trig equations. So all you need to do is you need to try to solve and get the trig by itself, and then we're going to be going backwards and looking off the answers off of our chart. So let me go back to those notes real quick that we have. Oh, that's in the other chapter I made your videos for. So it was the chart where we had like this on there. Your 0, 30, 45, 60, 90. So it's going to be this chart that we're going to be looking backwards off of your sine, cosine, and tangent. And this goes 0, a half. And this one goes backwards. This is undefined. This is 0. This is 1 over radical 3, 1, and radical 3. All right, so yours will look better if you just get that. So I'm going to solve this. So add my 1 and then divide my 2. So we need to know where is sine equal 1/2. So you look on here, sine equals 1/2 at 30 degrees. So sine is 30 degrees, and then it's also positive in the second quadrant. So you need to know what angle would have a reference angle of 30 degrees in this quadrant, and that's 150 degrees. We will be using radians though for the most part, but I'll be honest with you, I take degrees and I switch them to radians because I suck. But anyways, it is easier if you know your radians. So here I'm going to subtract my 1 first. This right here tells you just to give your answers in radians in the first. So I'm going to subtract my 1 and divide my 4. So cosine equals 2/4, which is negative a half. So cosine equals a half at 60 degrees. So I'm going to put this off to the side. But cosine's negative in the second and third quadrants. So I need the reference angles for 60 in the second and the third quadrants. So I'm going to have 120 degrees and then 240 degrees. Those are the reference angles for them. Oh, I should have done it in radians. I suck. All right, so pi over 3 is the radian. And then in the second quadrant, that gives me 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. And so add your 1, divide your 3. So tangent of x equals 1 over radical 3. Remember, that's the same thing as radical 3 over 3. So that's my 30 degrees here. Up here, it's the 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. So I have pi over 6. So tangent's positive in the first and the third quadrants. So you have your angle here. So I'm going to do pi plus, because I get pi plus a pi over 6 is how I'll get that answer. So I get 7 pi over 6. So this one I'm going to minus my 1, divide my 9. So let's see, we get 9x squared equals 1 over 9. And I get rid of the square. I'm going to square root both sides. So sine of x equals plus or minus 1/3. So on this one right here, that's not actually on my chart. So I'm going to have to grab my calculator and make sure I'm in radians. Okay, so I'm going to do sine inverse of 1/3, and I get 0.3, we'll say 0.34, just round it. Since it's plus and minus, I need all of my answers. So there's a little chart here I guess I could give to you. It's pi minus number. This is pi plus number, 2 pi minus number, and then this is the number out of the calculator. So I'm going to do all that. So I'm going to do pi minus 0.34, pi plus 0.34, and then 2 pi minus 0.34. So we get 2.8, 3.48, and 5.9. Okay. So here I'm going to add my 2 over. So I'm going to have cosecant x equals 2. So cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So really it's asking you, where is sine of x equal to a half? So you go up here, sine x is a half at your 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. So pi over 6. So pi over 6, so this is positive, so sine's positive, and the answer you get off the chart, and pi minus your answer. So if I do pi minus my answer here, so those are the 2 of them. So this I'm going to add my 3 over, divide, or square root, and add and divide. So this is the same thing as 1 over radical 3, which happens at 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. So pi over 6, and then in this quadrant up here, it tells you to do pi plus your answer. So 7 pi over 6. So I'm going to subtract my 2 cosine of x over first, and then divide the 2. So cosine is a half. Cosine is a half at 60 degrees. So pi over 3. Cosine's also positive down here, so do 2 pi minus pi over 3. So that is pi over 3. And then our last two down here. So this one right here, I'm just going to factor out my tangent of x. So I get tangent of x equals 0, or tangent of x equals negative 3/2. So let's just go ahead and tan inverse of that in our calculator. So if you tan inverse 0, you get out 0. Tangent is 0 at 0 and at pi. See, if I do tangent of pi, you're also going to get 0 out. See, so you can check it. Then here I'm going to tan inverse negative 1.5. And that gives me, actually, I should do positive because the negative just tells me what quadrants I'm in. So 0.98. And then tangent's negative in these two quadrants up here, this one. So I'm going to do pi minus that answer. And then I'm going to do 2 pi minus that answer. So those are the two numbers I'm going to write down. So we have 0 pi and then 2.16 and 5.3. All right, on number 8, I'm going to subtract my cosine over. So I have sine squared x. Divide out my cosine. So either cosine of x equals 0 or sine squared of x equals 4. So square root both sides. Sine x equals plus or minus 2. Sine will never be larger or smaller than 1. And if you try it in your calculator, watch what happens. Sine inverse of 2. See how it comes up as a domain error? Because you can't sine inverse numbers. So that gives us nothing. So cosine, that's your x value. Your x value is 0 at pi over 2 and at 3 pi over 2. And if I wanted to check, I could do cosine of pi divided by 2. It will come out as 0. Cosine of 3 pi divided by 2, it comes out as 0.